The tragedy of the butcher general. Everyone noticed General as the butcher. He is strong in battle, a skilled tactician, he has mastered the technique of turning the specific of topography and time into his advantage, and is outstanding, above all, in the skill of individual warrior. Victory on the battlefield, however, does not lead straight to butchery. Many generals have been nicknamed for their military prowess. The victorious, the indomitable, the invincible, but only one is known as the butcher. Do you know why that is, Caim? The general himself asks as he gloats over the vast mountain of corpses. Caim does not reply. He enters the fray as a mercenary, but his bluff outclassed those of the regular troops. For the general to call a man into his presence and speak to him face to face is apparently an honor beyond even most officers' wildest dreams. Not just from winning battles, General goes on, that would be too simple, just kill the enemy, General. Take the big one's head and the battle is over, right? Caim nodded in silence. That is how battle should have ended instead of continuing for 3 days. The enemy general proposed a surrender on the first day. He offered his head in exchange for the life of his men and the villagers. But the butcher rejected the offer and continued his all-out attack on an enemy that had lost the will to fight, annihilating them in the process. The last day we used to burn down the forest into which the resting villagers had fled. The real battle doesn't end when you raise the victory song on the battlefield. If even one person survives, the seed of fate lives on. And talk about the desire for revenge, nothing good can come from leaving that behind. You must cut the cause of future trouble at the root. This is why the troops under general command killed the young men of the village. After they were through exterminating the enemy troop, they also killed the unarmed people. They killed mothers fleeing with children in their arms. They killed the children they stripped from their smattered corpses. Do you think me cruel, Caim? I do. Caim answered, nodding. The officer got around and went pale, but the butcher himself smiled magnanimously and went on. You didn't do any of those things, I gather. My job is to kill soldiers on the battlefield. My contract doesn't call for anything else. And I'm saying that is foolish line of thinking. The soldier you killed had brother and children. Do you plan to live in fear of the revenge? That is sheer stupidity. If you wipe out the entire family, you can live without such worries, you see? The general laughed uproariously, and the surrounding officers smiled in response. Caim, however, is especially unchanged and starts to work away. Where are you going, Caim? We are through talking, can we? My contact dissented. Never mind that, just wait. When the general said this, several soldiers stand to block Caim's way. Listen, Caim. I have heard the reports of your performance from the front lines. What do you say to fighting under me from now on? You can explore your martial talent to the full. I am not interested. What's that? I will never draw my sword on an armed opponent. The butcher is momentarily taken aback, the shock written clearly on his face. You still don't understand, do you? You should try reading a little history. You will find that hatred only breeds more hatred. This is what inevitably brings down even the most prosperous nation and powers, which is why I make absolutely sure to sever it at the root. If you ask me, General, war and butchery are two different things. What are you? The same goes for valor and brutality. You, a lowly mercenary, dare to lecture me? Let me tell you something about hatred too, General. It doesn't vibrate for cutting off a life, it remains in the earth, in the ground, in the wind. I have lived my life in that belief, and I intend to go on doing so. You stupid. Butchery is the work of coward. That is what I believe. Where do you get to dinner? The general greets Caim and his men drew their sword. At that very moment, from within the scorched forest come the cries of soldiers. Here are some, 5 of them still left. No, sits over there, they went the way. Distracted by the shout, the general commanded his men. Hurry, capture them, don't let even one of them get away. Hurry, hurry, you can let them escape. The men looking Caim begin to fidget, and all of them think to stop him as he calmly walks away. Do you hear me? You must not let them escape. If any one of them gets away, I will have your heads, all of you. The general, of course, are creatures of a coward. The butcher presided over many battlefields after that, and they burned countless villages to the ground, butchering all of their inhabitants. Then one night something happened. The general felt a strange itching sensation on the back of his hand. It was different from an ordinary insect bite or skin eruption. It was deeper down and felt like kind of a squirming. This is odd. He crawled his skin, but the itch would not subside. It was very strange. There was no redness or swelling or sign of a rash. Maybe I touched a poisonous moth. The general brought yet another village to the ground that day. Surrounded by beautiful countryside, the village in time of peace had been installed as the flowering hamlet. In keeping with the name, the villagers poured their energies into cultivating flowers of many hues, and the one in full bloom in this particular season and the color of setting sun. Indeed, the entire village looked as if it had been dyed the color of a beautiful afterglow. This was the village that the general burned down with flames far redder than any sunset. The villager, who ran in a circle begging for their lives, he killed one at a time. Far redder than the sunset, far redder than the flame, was the blood that had soaked into the earth. But this is how it was always. I didn't do anything special today. Shaking the hand that refused to stop itching, the general took a swallow of liquor, and in that moment it happened, tearing to thin skin on the back of his hand. A number of small green-like things emerged from within. No blood flowed, no pain accompanied them, exactly the way plants sprout from the earth. No, the thing that hovered over the back of his hand before his very eyes were unmistakably plant sprouts. Horrified, the general took a razor to the back of his hand and tried to shave things off. When the blade came in contact with them, however, they gave off sound like human moans. Sound exactly like the moans of a human being dying in agony as his entire body slashed by swords, or like the moans of a person who was being burned alive. Shut up, damn you, shut, you hellish! Holding the razor in one hand to shave the other, he could never cover his ears. His body was soaking to a greasy sweat by the time he succeeded in shaving the horrible things from the back of his hand. To salve his own anger, he shouted for the men who were supposed to be guarding him. Where there have you been, sir? You should have come running when you heard an unusual voice coming from my tent. That is your job, as my guards. The guards gave each other puzzled looks, and the first replied hesitantly to the general, "Forgive me, sir, we were standing just outside the entrance, but we never saw any such." The general glared at his guards, enraged, but after staggering to keep his welling anger in check, he shouted, "Never mind, get out." He was too upset to waste time on subordinates. Almost immediately, the chin attacked the back of his hand again, but his time was not limited to his hand. His flanks, his shoulder, his buttocks, behind his knee. His whole body started to twitch. Alone again, the general threw off his nightclothes and inspected his entire body. In the moonlight seeping to the roof of the tent, the things were sprouting from everywhere now, in some even leaves begging to grow on them. The general raised a soundless scream and began wildly attacking the growth whenever he could reach them. Each one he cut from his body raised an horrible moan, horrible, horrible, horrible. His bed sheet turned green before his eye, and soon the numberless sprout were transformed into numberless human corpses. They covered not only his bed, but the whole earth, before they melted into the darkness of night and vanished. One sleepless night, another in endless succession, the horrible things kept sprouting from his skin, however much he cut them off. Ointment has no effect, despite taking every potion and quelling tablet he could get his hands on, but nothing worked. He could not speak of this to his subordinates. If a woman spread a strange plant was sprouting from the butcher's body, it would rebound his enemy and discourage his allies. One of his subordinates may wanted to take his head at night. His cowardice had earned him the name of Butcher, and the same cowardice was what turned the general into a lone, isolated man. Yet no one could tell about this. Each night the general would wage the lonely battle, though perhaps it could not be called a battle precisely. The things merely sprouted from his body and put up no resistance. When he took the resource to them, they would simply moan and fall away. What the general was engaged in on his own was less a battle than a lonely butchery. Several more nights went by. The sprouting continued, but with an diminished force. The sinful fortunate aspect perhaps was that the thing only sprouted in place of his body, where the general could reach with his razor. This could as well have been a curse, however. The general had no choice but to go on shaving 10 things precisely because he could reach them. Precisely because he was able to perform the butchery by himself, he could not call for help. His lonely butchery continued, his sleepless night continued, the deadly flesh wasted away. Why is this happening? The general asked himself. Why did this have to happen to me? This is a time of war. I'm here on the battlefield. I have to kill the enemy in order to survive. In order to give myself future peace of mind, I have to kill them all, both armed and unarmed. It's simple common sense, general rule, but it spit out the words. What I have done is the sensible thing in the most sensible way. The night, again, the sprout emerged from his body. This night, again, the general had to shave them off. Again the countess moaned, again the countess body. Again near the crowd close to announce the end of night. Again the general passed the night without the comfort of sleep. The general's body, once superbly conditioned on the battlefield, withered away before his own eyes. But more than his body, his mind became unstable. He spent his days sprawled on his bed. Eyes open or closed, he would see images of his past sin of butchery. Now I began to recall the word of a skilled but insolent mercenary. Hatred doesn't evaporate from cutting off a life. It remains in the earth, in the clouds, in the wind. The general wanted to see that man again, to see him and ask him again, have I been wrong all these years? The man himself, a man of few words, would probably not answer this question. Still the general wanted to see him again, that mercenary that came fell. The sun went down, the night gradually deepened. As always the itching started, the plants began to sprout. But the general, grasping the razor in his finger, that now looked like withered branches, no longer had the strength to shave them off. His back began to itch. This was the first time the fingers sprouted someplace beyond his reach, as if they'd been waiting for his opportune moment. Sprawling on his bed, the general let the razor drop from his hand. Enough, I don't care anymore. The sprouts kept growing, creeping over him. And before long, they covered him completely. At that point, his back split open and an unusually large sprout emerged. By dawn the sprout had fully matured, and before the cock crowed, it produced a single blossom, the color of an evening afterglow. Many long years have passed. Within your battlefield, Caim fends a flower garden there, blooming in profusion, are flowers of clearly different shape and color than the ones along its border. Beside the garden stands a stone monument inscribed within the garden history. In this place a great general met his end, he was known as the Butcher. He died suddenly one night, and from his body grew many flowering plants. These were evening flowers, a blossom unique to a village that the runners burned to the ground. In ancient legend tells that the seed of the evening flower lodged in the body of those who nourished hatred in their breasts, and the roots of the plant feed the flower with the person's flesh. The garden flowers, the color of the setting sun, sway in a gentle breeze. Caim stand there for a time, gazing at the countless flowers given birth by ether before walking on in silence. It is said that in the very center of the garden lies this greatest suit of armor, but no one has ever found it.